Hello everyone, Tuesday, October 24th, 2017. Of course, today is not New Comic Book Day. I will not be picking up my comic books tomorrow. I have some other things I have to take care of. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a video tonight and show some of the older books I picked up the last couple of days and have a comment and observation on some big comic book news that was announced recently. So we will jump right into the books I picked up first. The first book I'm going to show you is a book. It's a storyline that I like. I've always liked it. I don't think it gets a lot of attention or a lot of love from collectors. There is a following, but not as big as I think it should be. This is from 1965. I graded this as a fine minus. This is Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. And again, sorry for the glare. I put everything in Mylar, and the light really reflects off of the Mylar. Book number 2 from 1967, Superman 194. From 1968, this is a Stan Lee story. I graded this a fine plus, Daredevil 44. Now remember, my grading is a lot more difficult than most people, so what I say is a fine plus is probably going to be other people's very fines, because I've seen the way some people grade. Trust me, my grades are pretty locked in, so I'm very confident with these grades that I'm giving. The next book I'm giving is Avengers 49. This is from 1967. This is a Buscema cover, as well as he did the pencils inside the book. And this is a Magneto cover. I graded this a fine plus. Really nice story right there. Nice book. Good color on that. Nice black background. Just really like that book. And finally, the last book I picked up was The Invincible Iron Man number 7. This is from 1968. I graded it a fine, very fine. And this is George Tuska cover and art. Really nice book right there. And again, you see a pattern with all the books I've been showing the last few videos. And it's all 12 centers except for the one 10 center I picked up. And except for a couple of the higher grade, I got like the one Justice League, and then of course, I can't think of it right now, Super Friends, the Super Friends book I picked up. So a lot of 12-cent covers. And why is that? Because like we talked about, 12-cent covers are becoming harder and harder to find in high grade. You're trying to get them right now in a mid-grade. And when I say mid-grade, I'm talking 5.0, 7.5 is a solid mid-grade. Anything 8.0 and above, I consider an upper grade. Okay, so mid-grade, 5 to a 7.5. If you can find books in that condition, decent price, don't overpay for books in that condition, but a decent price on those books, pick them up. I'm going to do that all the time. So there was that. So the big news that was announced recently is CBCS, the grading company that a couple of years ago dipped their toes in the water, and we're going to try to take over or try to be a big major player in the grading company against CGC, has announced that they have been bought out. Their majority interest has been bought out by Beckett Media. Now, if you don't know who Beckett Media is, if you do any type of sports cards, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, then you know who Beckett is. They come out with the price guides every month for these. They also have grading services for their cards, either Beckett Grading Service, BGS, or if you have older cards, vintage cards, it's Beckett Vintage Grading. So I kind of ran this around my head. I called a couple of friends. We had a little conference call. And the bottom line is, thought process on this, it's a positive for the industry, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason Beckett jumped into the market to get into the comic books is because they know, like most of you who collect comic books or have heard some of my videos, comic books are a solid investment. Vintage books are always going to hold their value. It's better than gold, it's better than silver. Might not be as expensive as those items, but it's better because gold and silver fluctuates tremendously. If you're playing the stock market, you know you can be big one day and broke the next. If you spend $3,000 on vintage comic books on high grade and you put them away, a year from now, they're going to be worth more than $3,000. That is the market of the beast, and that's why you're seeing big money for big vintage books. Beckett sees that. They had the opportunity to buy into a company that has established itself as being a fairly solid grader. CBCS has gotten some really good reviews. They have good cases. Their grading is pretty solid. Beckett has now jumped into that, and now CBCS has Beckett's deep pockets for advertising. You're now going to see a lot more of them as it relates that not only sports card shows, but comic shows. You're going to start seeing more Beckett Media things going on there because now they have a major play in the market because CGC and CBCS are the two biggest leaders in comic book grading right now out there. CGC is still the big daddy. that CBCS is closing the gap. And with this big announcement of Beckett Media coming on board with them, they're really gaining ground right now. And this is a positive, and this is one of the biggest things that we see here. When I have my shop, and even the messages that I get are talking to people or going to shows, one of the biggest complaints is there's only one real comic book price guide. It's the Overstreet. It comes out usually late July. And from July to July, that is the book that most shops across the country go by. Because face it, a lot of comic book shops don't do eBay to look for prices. They'll just look at the Beckett. It says this is what the price is. This is what I'm pricing it at, or negotiating a price close to that price. So I believe in the next year, you're going to see Beckett put out either a monthly or a bi-monthly price guide for comic books. Kind of in the line that The Wizard was in the 90s. It was a real popular book, The Wizard. People were real disappointed when they stopped doing it. But I think it's positive because now you're going to see your finger on the pulse. Beckett's always been good about getting their finger on the pulse on what's hot. So you're going to start seeing a comic book price guide come out with more frequency every month at comic shops. And I'm going to be on board. I'm going to buy them because I still buy Beckett's because I have a large card collection. I like to kind of see where the market's going on that. I don't do it as much as I used to. I used to be real successful with it, but I kind of went away from that. When I heard Beckett came in, I am not a Beckett fan. I'm not a big Beckett fan, but they do bring a solid foundation to the industry, and I'm real excited about that aspect of it because it's going to open up comic books in other directions, which is a positive for all of us who enjoy this genre. And again, the biggest thing that's going to be is there's going to be a price guide. I know there's going to be a price guide. Beckett would not do this if they did not know they're going to be able to sell their monthly price guides, because that is their bread and butter. They have a lot of things. That price guide is their bread and butter, and now they're going into a whole nother market. People have gone away from cards and have jumped into the comic book industry. Now Beckett can get back into their pockets with a monthly price guide or a bi-monthly price guide similar to The Wizard, and I think that's a positive all around. It may also make Overstreet reevaluate the way that they do their price guides. They've gotten kind of stale the last few years and kind of go for that. And I kind of see a correlation between Overstreet and CGC marrying from CBS to Beckett marrying. If you can't see the similarities there, you're blind. You have a price guide company that catches on with a grading company, CGC, Overstreet, same thing here, Beckett, CBCS. Now the two big daddies are going to be going head to head, and I'm real excited for the direction that this is going into. So this video was just kind of short and kind of all around. I've been getting a lot of good positive reviews, a lot of comments from people. I appreciate all that. Again, I appreciate all the people who watch the videos and take the time to watch their videos. Someone sat there and said, hey, I see you wear different t-shirts all the time. Well, today it's a Regal Beagle t-shirt. Hopefully you know what the Regal Beagle is. If you do, then you've just got some really cool points with me, because that's a great place. And you know, if you know the Regal Beagle, you know what I'm talking about. So pretty much, again, the video is all over. I got a lot on my mind right now. I am going to do the movie video tomorrow. Again, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you see someone who might like it, tell them about it. Tell them about the channel. We welcome all comers here. Thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if that's what you feel you need to do. Again, exciting news with Beckett and CBCS joining forces. There's good things on the horizon. I guarantee that. And most of my guarantees always come true. So I hope you liked the video. But if you didn't, as always, nothing I can do for you. Have a great night.